Denise, do you know when graduation tickets go out?
No, I don't exactly. And I just read it like it's on the website.
It's on the website? Okay.
I was just reading what day it was for sure.
You take minutes? I'm just kidding.
I like how you did that, submitted my answer.
Which one do you want?
I may give them to whatever. I don't think he's going to be there. I think it's just Denise. One way I'll get to. I'm going to hit this. Yeah, AALSD.
Welcome. I hereby call to order this meeting of the regular board business meeting of the Stillwater Area School District on March 5th, 2020. Can we have a call to order, a roll call, please?
Yes. Chair Stivlin.
Here.
Vice Chair Pearson. Treasurer Riley.
Here.
Clerk Potachik.
Here.
Director Burns.
Here.
Director Pelletier.
Here.
Director Weisberg.
Here.
You have a quorum?
Thank you. It's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And can we please have the district mission statement read, please?
I have that. The mission of Stillwater Area Public Schools in partnership with students, family, and community is to develop curious individuals who are active and engaged leaders in an ever-changing world by challenging all students as they travel along their personalized learning pathways.
Thank you very much. And our board goals?
Thank you. In partnership with community, parents, and students, the School Board of Stillwater Area Public Schools ensures excellence in education by increasing student achievement for all students, securing long-term financial stability of the district, increasing community trust and engagement.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Nay? All right. That carries. And now it's time for our superintendent report.
All right, thank you very much. First of all, we'd like to recognize that students and families have questions about the coronavirus disease. Many of you have been hearing about it in the media, and we just wanted to share with you that the school district is in regular communication with the Minnesota Department of Health and the Department of Education as we prepare for the possibility in the event that this virus becomes a local concern. You can check our website. We have many resources for you there. But as you've heard already on the media many times, wash your hands, cover up your mouth if you cough or sneeze, stay home if you're sick. We appreciate the outreach from several local agencies offering their expertise in this area from around the valley who have reached out to help us support the school district in case there's a need in the future. The Department of Education also posted graduation rates for the state. Stillwater's percentage rate continues to rise. In 2018, we are at 91.5%. In 2019, we are at 95%, and that's including commendable increases for our ALC and our special education students. And we'd like to thank our staff and our families for supporting our students and making sure they're in school. And finally, this evening, I'd like to commend our finance department under the direction of Kristen Hoheisel for receiving the Award of Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 15th year in a row. Congratulations to your team, and thank you for your dedication to the district.
Thank you. Do we have a student report to share, or are we going to skip that? The students tonight were unavailable to come. Okay, no student report. Okay, thank you. Getting a head start on spring break, perhaps. It's time for a recognition.
All right, you see a lot of red shirts in the audience, so we are going to welcome our Unified Physical Education team with our Ponies Trust Club to the podium to recognize them. Their group offers a unique opportunity for students with and without disabilities to work through educational and physical activities and come together on equal terms through ongoing socials, sports, wellness, fitness, and various leadership activities. The group focuses on fostering new friendships, embracing each other's differences and celebrating success in various situations, changing how students interact with one another on a daily basis, and accepting everyone for the way they are. Welcome, and I'll welcome Caitlin Willis to the podium, please, to introduce our folks.
Thank you all for having us. I am not going to stand here and talk a lot about this class because I really want to give the podium to the teachers and the students who are here and who are ultimately the masterminds of this class and this club. But the purpose, as Denise already kind of talked about, is to really bring students with and without disabilities together around the activities in physical education. And so it's a great learning opportunity for all students. And I can honestly say that what it's done for the culture at Stillwater High School is absolutely fantastic. So without further ado, here is Paula Harrison and John McAllister, the teachers for our Unified Phi-Ed class, as well as our Trust Club, and many, but not all, but most of the students who participate in this class and club. So.
Thank you for having us. I also want to introduce Leah Hamilton, who's our speech pathologist, who also has joined the team. And it's happened very organically. It was part of when the kids are working on their IEP goals that she joined us. So I didn't want to leave her off of our little list. So are you ready for the inclusion revolution? We are just having a phenomenal time with this. And I can't say it's about me or it's about us as teachers. It's really all about the kids. And we have such fantastic leaders that are going to help us tonight. And I hate it when people read slides to me, but I'm going to read this one. Our goal is to break down barriers and build a framework that encourages inclusion and authentic relationships. As students graduate and bring their experiences to their communities, they help to build a better society. And you have found out about this through us being at Cub Foods packing grocery bags to raise money for the Polar Plunge. And that community member contacted Ms. Peltier, and she asked about it and got more information. And we are so proud of what we've done, and we thank you for the opportunity to share just a little bit of what we do with our students. Clicker.
Teamwork.
Oh, go back one more. So Stillwater High School is a unified champion school, and we are supported by Special Olympics Minnesota, and there are 3 pillars that we follow. Number 1 is inclusive student leadership. Number 2 is unified sports, which includes physical education and some other activities within the school, and whole school engagement. So we're going to have a few of our students come up and share their experiences with those pieces and let you know why we're a champion school. Ella Hamilton is our president of the Unified Club.
Hi, I'm Ella, and our club's purpose is to increase the inclusiveness at our school and continue with the unified movement to bring it to our school. So we meet weekly during Flex, and we hang out, we play games, we do art projects, we host 2 Flex Time dances that are open to the whole school, and yeah, we just hang out and stuff.
That's awesome.
During the year, Special Olympics invites us to leadership summits, which schools around Minnesota get invited to, and they're a great way to meet other schools and find out what they're doing and do activities and just have fun. And then there's also a Special Olympics Student Board of Directors, which students from high schools are chosen to go and represent their high school. And we have 3 at our high school, myself and 2 others, Paige and Elsa. And the purpose of that is it's just a great way to get ideas and to bring back to our school to continue with our unified movement.
Great.
Hello, my name is Macy Gagnon, and I was a part of the Unified PE class last semester, and I will be taking it again next year. And I really love the class because it was a way for me to have classes with kids I would normally not have any classes with.
My name is Rylan Zanin. I am part of the Stillwater Area High School Trust Club, and I'm also part of the adapted soccer and adapted floor hockey, which is a great experience for me.
Great job. Yeah. Great job. That's awesome.
My name is Mohammed Yusuf, and I am a junior at Stillwater Area High School. In October, I became involved in Trust Club. Trust Club is a group of students, both with and without disabilities, who get together and do fun activities. and also participate in field trips, athletic tournaments, and flex time activities. Before this year, I had never played basketball. Then in November, I started playing with my trust friends. This led to us going to a Special Olympics basketball tournament in Orono in February. This was the best field trip I have ever been on. We met students from other schools, and we came in second place. We couldn't have been prouder of the hard work and friendships that were made through basketball. In 9th and 10th grade, I did not participate in after-school activities. This year, I stay after to play basketball and to watch my new friends play on the school basketball team. Trust Club and Unified PE have really made a positive impact on my life and my school journey.
Thank you.
I am Thomas Blair, and I just want to say that I was the coach for the Trust Buddies basketball tournament. I think it was a great experience for all of us, players and partners alike. It was really just a great time. I've never seen Muhammad smile as big as he did that day. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a great time. They all had a lot of fun. Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm Kaya, and we also did the Person First campaign at our school. So before school and during lunches, we had a big banner that said "Speak Kindness," and anyone who wanted could come up and stamp their thumb to pledge to speak kindness. And it was a great turnout. Lots of kids did it to join the movement, which was very exciting. And our school also participated in Polar Plunge this year. 14 people from our school plunged in freezing cold water, so it was very exciting, and lots of people also went to cheer on. And this is Maddie, who plunged this year, and she's going to share her favorite part.
Okay, hi, I'm Maddie, and I'm a junior, and my favorite part is like jumping in the physical water, and this is my first time doing it, and I just want to say this lovely crew behind me who is helping me and supporting me do the Polar Plunge for my first time. And I just love my school, and the Polar Plunge is the reason that I got here, because one of my friends, James, behind me, he helped me and supported me while I was there. And yes, and I know it was scary for my first time, but I just have a wonderful time at the Polar Plunge. It was so much fun, and Miss Harrison is the reason, the person that I got here in the first place. Because when I was a freshman, she is there to support me and just love me where I am.
Thank you.
And we have a really great video that we weren't able to show you because there, I believe, is some technical difficulties. So it's being sent to you. So enjoy. It's really lovely.
We will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I forgot. Mark Burns came to one of our Special Olympics PD development days on Change the Game, and that was really wonderful for you to take the time out of your busy day to see what this is all about, and I really appreciate Jen bringing this to your attention. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here and sharing this wonderful story. I'm sobbing. This is just great. And I'm so glad to hear about all the positive impact that this is having on our students and our schools. Did you guys have anything you wanted to share?
Yeah, hopefully this will be this is the news story that's going to be covered tonight. Honestly, I'm just so moved by the positivity that is in this room, and it starts with the leadership and the heart that you put into your work outside of the classroom. And look at what you've done. Look at these kids and students. I know a couple of you sports boys over there, and well done, you kids. Way to support your fellow students. And I know a couple of you in the front, Rylan, and my heart is so warm tonight and full, and I'm bursting with pride. Well done, all of you.
Would it be possible just to explain for the public the unified PE program and how that has brought the students together? If you could just give a 1 or 2 minute description of that.
I'm John McAllister. I'm one of the special ed teachers. So what happens is we have the general education kids join the class, and then students that we kind of select, and will go into the class, and then they're partnered with a buddy or two, depending upon how many kids there are. And then along with that, we have Leah does something related to speech. I do a presentation on cognitive disabilities. We have an OT come in about sensory, and we had the teacher of physical impairments come in to talk. So they're also getting information as well as just working with the kids. So then with that, we pair up in other times. So then sometimes that leads to them joining the trust club and or doing other things with the kids even outside of school. So.
Great. That's a fantastic program. I just want to go ahead.
Just one thing I want to just celebrate as we're talking about this is that for next year, we've had twice as many general education students register for this class. Wow. So it's growing, and I'm just so proud of the word on the street that is coming from all of these folks.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I just was, yes, absolutely. I just wanted to acknowledge any parents in the room. Are there parents in the room of these wonderful students that have come tonight at all?
Please,
just,
in the back there.
A huge shout out. A huge shout out to all the parents of these wonderful students who are doing amazing things in our community. Thank you for supporting them in this great cause. So thanks. Thanks for being here tonight, you guys. Congrats. All right, the next item on our agenda is the open forum. If you wish to speak to the school board, you will be able to do so at the start of the school board meeting during open forum. You may sign in only for yourself, not other individuals or groups, and only in person. The sign-in sheet is made available 30 minutes prior and up to start of the meeting. Due to time limitations, we will limit the number of speakers to 15, with each speaker receiving 3 minutes. If you spoke at the last meeting, please consider allowing others to sign in before you. After you address the board, please leave the podium. Stillwater Area School District welcomes input from citizens, and as community involvement fosters better decision-making and improved learning experiences for all students. While comments and questions are welcome during open forum, law prohibits the board from discussing concerns about individual employees or students in a public meeting. We will stop the proceedings immediately if employee or student privacy issues are raised, and direct the speaker to forward comments regarding individual employees or students to the superintendent. Because we are modeling civil discourse for our community, speakers must present their testimony in a respectful manner. Vulgarity, character attacks, malice, or specific complaints identifying staff or students by name or implication will not be permitted. The board will not deliberate, discuss, or engage in conversation with speakers during open forum. However, the board may ask administration to review the concerns presented. If you want to receive follow-up from the board or administration, please ensure you include your email address on the sign-in form. Thank you. And our first speaker tonight is Catherine Harview.
Chair Stivland, Directors Superintendent Pontrelli. I was here earlier last month to speak about the bus garage. and I'm back tonight to speak again about the dumpster fire in the district. In any corporation with a budget of similar size to our school district, you will find a director of operations and a director of finance. You will never see those two positions held by a single person. Why? Because the two positions serve as a check and balance against each other. The administrative structure which Superintendent Pontrelli devised for our district combined both positions in one person. Didn't we hear criticisms of that structure from year one of her administration? There were warnings that this could be a problem. Did either the Director of Operations or the Director of Finance bring concerns about the status of the sewer and water infrastructure to Superintendent Pontrelli? Who was serving as the check and balance of the bus garage project? Who had ultimate oversight? In her administrative structure, the superintendent is the only check on the Director of Operations and Director of Finance. This was a serious structural error, which was the creation of the superintendent, and she is now answerable for the result. So we have a situation in which the district is in clear violation of the conditional use permit, and all sides now are lawyering up. At least $7 million is at risk. Does anyone in this room seriously think that any bond issue is going to pass after this? Whatever resolution is reached, do you think anyone will vote to allow this administration to oversee any project? Does anyone in this room think the renewal of the operating levy is not seriously in jeopardy as well? Why is everyone willing to just sit on this situation? The persons responsible for this project should be fired. The person who is responsible for oversight of these employees should be fired. If the board is unwilling to demand these actions, then they should be fired by the voters. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Francis Porbeni.
Yeah, good evening, all. Chairwoman Stevlin and directors of the board, and Superintendent Pontrelli and her leadership team. I've come before you this evening to speak on the community development team. I feel compelled to address you this evening on this issue of the CDT, its composition and its decision-making process. During open forum at the past few board meetings, especially the last, some members of the CDT came before you to complain about the work of the CDT. Two issues were raised: expansion of the CDT and the manner deliberations and decisions were made. Some said the recommendations before you were not made by consensus. This is a false narrative that needs to be debunked and dispelled. On the expansion of the CDT, was there any wrong action doing that? And were the additional members not qualified to be on the CDT team? I believe not. With regards to the process, the deliberations and decision-making, I want to believe that there were guidelines with respect to how the deliberations will be conducted and decisions reached. Why were there no objections to these guidelines at the exception of the work of the CDT? Serving on the CDT is a privilege, and it's unfortunate that some members resigned from the team on allegation that their views and opinions were not taken seriously. I can only speculate as to why these individuals acted in this manner. I suspect they feel they have friends and allies on the board, and these board members will vote to advance the positions they could not articulate during the deliberations of the CDT. Some have urged you, based on this false narrative, to reject the recommendations of the CDT. If my suspicion is right and you act along this line, this will be an abuse of the process, an abuse of your powers as members of the school board. None of you will encourage or support a legislator who, in the middle of the legislative season, resigns simply because he or she is not able to persuade other members of the legislature to support his or her position on key issues of interest. When one probes a little deeper into the likely motives of why these CDT members resign, it is not too hard to suspect that their action is motivated by the singular need to reopen Oak Park as an elementary school. Reopening Oak Park is now an article of faith. It seems the entire CDT exercise and the district is now being held hostage to this demand. No amount of data and information that argues to the contrary will persuade these individuals. I would like to recall the answer an eminent scholar in the subjects of cognitive and decision science gave when asked the question, what is the ultimate outcome of an education?
Yeah, I'm sorry, your time is up.
Okay, thank you. I just want to urge you, just to conclude the last sentence. I urge you as board members that as you review and deliberate on the recommendations of the CDT, that you are humble, honest, and courageous, and be prepared to change what you believe. The citizens of these districts are counting on you to do what is right for the greatest good of all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. We have item A, the school board meeting minutes from February 20th. Item B, the school board closed meeting minutes from February 13th. C is the disbursement register from February 22nd through March 6th. D is the human resources personnel report. E is the Cintas Corporation agreement. F is the Internet Network Services agreement. And G is the Upper Lakes Food Incorporated renewal agreement for 2020 to 2021. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have Director Pelletier as a movement. Do I have a second? Can you say something?
Sorry, second.
Director Weisberg is the second.
Beating me.
Do we have any questions? Yes?
I would like to separate item D, the human resource personnel report. because
Okay.
I wish to comment on part of that.
Okay, we're going to pull D. We will, we have a motion to approve the rest of the items. All in favor? Raise your right hand and say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, let's take item D.
The reason I separated item D, and this comes up actually every time I look at the human resource personnel report, is that there are 4 individuals that are retiring, and once in a while we have 1 or 2, but I thought because we have a little more time tonight, I would like to read out the names and the number of years of service, because I think it bears gratifying and recognizing these people for the many years they put in. And so we have Sonia, and I think it's Esch, E-S-C-H, 23 years. We have Deb Holland, who is retiring after 18 years. We have Sandra Weber, who is retiring after 16 years. And we have Dee White, who is retiring after 22 years. So if I could, I know we recognize these people at a separate recognition dinner, but I think it deserves more than that. So with that, I would encourage the audience to join me in a salute by showing our thanks to these people. And now I would like to move item D for approval, and I so move.
All right, and I will second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
All right, that carries. Thank you. Our first report tonight is the Auditor Services Report, and I will turn it over to Director Hoheisel.
Thank you, Chair Stivlin, Superintendent Pontrelli, school board members. I'm actually going to go straight to Director Riley. She is the chair of the Finance and Operations Working Group, and I would ask that she address the report tonight.
All right, thank you very much. Director Riley?
Yep, hang on a second. I'm back in the consent agenda still. Okay. I guess I'll just kind of go through the summary. On October 11th and 18th, 2019, Stillwater Area Public Schools advertised for written proposals from certified public accounting firms to audit its financial statements for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020, with the option of auditing its financial statements for each of the 4 subsequent fiscal years. On Tuesday, November 5th, 2019, Stillwater Area Public Schools received written proposals from 4 certified public accounting firms to audit its financial statements according to the specifications and conditions of the request for proposals. The district's Finance and Operations Working Group met on February 20th, 2020 to review the proposals. The committee work resulted in the participating school board members recommending Clifton Larson Allen LLP as the district auditor for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020. I had written down a couple of extra things on that. So this is a report, and so it'll be brought next business meeting as an action. So at the meeting, the February 20th meeting, we reviewed 4 auditor responses. We each were able to respond with the time needed to thoughtfully sort through each one of those. After committee discussion, we came to a unanimous consensus to change firms and recommend hiring Clifton Larson Allen. While we've been pleased working with MMKR for approximately 20 years, CLA had a great response, and we will benefit and appreciate a new perspective. Sherry has responses there at Central if anybody would like to go and review them as well before the next meeting's vote. Anything else? Any questions? Do you have, Jen, Liz?
That was perfect.
Good job.
Good.
Director Burns, do you have a question?
What is the term that's being proposed, the number of years? Is this an annual contract being proposed, or is it a multi-year?
Well, it's for, where is it on here?
And
3 years, 4 years?
Okay, each of the 4 subsequent, I see it, each of the 4 subsequent fiscal years. We have an option.
So this is a 4-year contract that we're looking at?
Up to, right?
Up to
Is
4.
that correct? That we would have
You
a,
answer that?
You would enter into an agreement every year. You do a management letter where the board approves entering into it. The intent would be like others where we do the one. I had them, when the request for proposal was issued, it was then give us pricing for a subsequent 4 should we choose to continue to use your services. So it's the option per annum for the 4. Every year it will come before the board to renew the management letter. Usually when we get that, it's a little late to switch auditors, but it will be in front of you every year.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? All right, so if we want to review each of the proposals, they're at Sherry's desk. If you have any questions for finance group, you can talk to Director Riley, and we will have a vote on the 19th. All right. Moving on, the next item we have is a review of, I think this is the second reading of 5 of our policies that need to be reviewed every other year. And I'm going to turn that over to our policy chair, Director Burns.
Thank you. So this is our second reading of these 5 policies that were initially adopted in 2017, November 2017, so relatively recently. but it is up for a 2-year cycle review. One note that we have been advised that in the past, the practice of the school board has been, and also the policy working group, has been when we don't anticipate that there are changes, we do have the option of just simply recommending that it be reviewed within the policy working group and then passed on to the next review cycle. So there may be in the future, we'll see as we get to them, there may be some that if we don't have recommended changes like these, they may not come to full board for review. But in this case, this is our second review, our second reading of these 5 policies, and we'll open up for any questions.
Anybody have any questions on these policies?
I don't, thank you, Chair. I don't, I just wanted to just say for purposes of the public, the policies we're looking at, name of the school district, obviously, equal education, complaints, student employees, parents, and other people, and that one, maybe one to look at if you're, just maybe one to flag as a parent. Employee, and then the mission statement. But yeah, I agree with that. I just wanted to, make sure the public knows that this is your opportunity to read through the policies, and we're not voting on it at this point until the next meeting.
That's correct. So if there are comments, if the public has any comments on these policies, please forward them to us. You can either do it to me or to the board chair. And that will get forwarded to the policy working group for our consideration. So if the public, again, these are our policy numbers 101, 101.1, 102, 103, and 104. And those policies are on our website, so you can review them there. And if you have any concerns, please let us know. Because we will be voting, assuming we don't have questions that come up. This will come up for our approval and vote at our next meeting.
All right, thank you very much. It just so happens this is a very rare and unique night that we have no action items tonight. So some of us are celebrating just a little bit that we're gonna have a very short meeting. And so that is actually all we have for a regular meeting, and we're moving on now at this time to our board member reports. We start off with the board chair report, and I have nothing at this time, so we'll go right straight to the working group reports and community engagement.
We have not met since our last board meeting, and our next meeting is March 17th at 1 o'clock.
All right, thank you. Finance and operations.
We have not met either since last meeting.
Legislative committee.
Yes, we met, and a couple things I would just like to share with the group. We met on March 2nd. Mark Burns and Shelley Pearson are new to that committee. So some of the things we discussed and talked about was our purpose. And typically we meet when needed, particularly when we have a program or a day coming up. And so past projects have been, we developed a legislative platform, which I think most of you are aware of, and anybody in the audience could get a copy of that platform by contacting Sherry, and that is described as the legislative platform for 2020. We also hosted a legislative breakfast. It seems like a long time ago right now, but it was held. We also, throughout, particular when the legislature is in session, we often meet with candidates and we lobby legislators, and we do that in a variety of ways, whether it's phone calls, emails, or what we like to call is a day at the Capitol, and we have a couple of those coming up. And then also what we try to do on a regular basis is become better informed on legislative issues. And not only do we read the newspapers or listen to the radio or television reports, but we also receive a newsletter from AMSD, C, and the Minnesota School Boards Associations. And all of those are really coalitions which try to promote education. We attend their meetings often, and we also visit the Capitol. And we also have online sources that we can contact any one of those three organizations. Next, we really have, and what we talked about a little bit, is a couple of events coming up. And one of those is on March 23rd, and the other one is closely followed the next day by another day at the Capitol. The first is the Minnesota School Boards Association Day at the Capitol, and this is for any school board member. And that will take place on Monday, March 23rd. And the first part of that session is to hear from MSBA staff, and that usually takes an hour or two, and followed by 4 legislative leaders in both the DFL and the Republican Party. Usually supply 2 of those, and what they're oftentimes, they are the legislative leaders on education. And then in the afternoon, what we can choose to do as board members, and it's encouraged by MSBA, is to meet with legislators. And oftentimes they'll be in session, and you send contact information, and usually they come out if they're in session, and they talk to you if they're available. We're going to do it slightly different this year because for the first time, like I just said, these are back-to-back. And so on Monday is MSBA Day, but the very next day, we are going to have C Day at the Capitol. And we're hoping to get a busload of people to go, and that will include probably about 20-plus students. We also, the administration will be with us. The superintendent generally goes, several directors go. And then what we also like to do is to bring parents who represent other groups. And because part of our platform is the cross-subsidy in special education, we like to solicit parents from that group. The other 2 parts of our legislative offerings are really the general formula, and then the third one, mental.
Safe schools, school safety aid.
Safety aid, but really what we also look at is a subcomponent of that is the mental well-being of our students. So if there are parents who have special interest in that area or others, please let us know, and we'll try to involve you in that as well. So that's pretty much what we're doing. Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, I didn't know if you had something else, but I want to add something. We did just get, just this afternoon, an action alert from MSBA, the Minnesota School Board Association. And what they told us is that the state has a surplus and schools have needs. Our budget has a projected surplus of $1.5 billion in the state of Minnesota for the remainder of the biennium. Resources are available to dedicate to K-12 classrooms. Education in the state of Minnesota makes up 40% of our state budget. Is asking for 40% of the surplus unreasonable? The legislative agenda calls for a supplemental budget with these 3 specific areas, and they are, as Mike was just mentioning, an additional 1% increase for general education, general formula, the school safety aid, which was a one-time expenditure last year. Their MSBA is asking for that to be made permanent, and that money is being used, can be used for mental health services or school safety issues. And then to continue to support the special education cross-subsidy, the additional costs that we incur to provide the services for our special ed students. And so this is an all-out call for anyone who has even just 5 minutes to contact your senator or your House of Representatives and let them know that you want to have them support schools, that it's really important. There is a little bit of money for us to work with, and if we put a push out there, maybe we'll get some additional funding from the state.
Okay.
Thank you.
And just one other addition, and that's why I bring out these 2 days being back-to-back. Part of that group going to the Capitol is what C arranges for us is each one of our legislative representatives comes before that group. And they have probably about 6 or 7 minutes to introduce themselves. We share our platform, which most of them have come earlier to the legislative breakfast, so they have some familiarity with it. And then we have the possibility to lobby for our platform specifically. And so that's what we'll be doing in there. But if you have any questions or comments, contact myself, the superintendent, Mark, Shelley. We're all representative of that group. And the last thing I'd like to mention as well is that on March 27th, C also has a regional meeting where they discuss what's happening in the legislature. And it's nice to hear from the other members from our regional part of C. And that ends the legislative report.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have a report from policy?
I can speak to just a few things. Since our last business meeting, the policy working group met on both February 25th and March 3rd. We discussed the student surveys, policy 520. That currently is going to be reviewed by our legal counsel, and we hope to be bringing that back for an action item fairly soon. We also discussed policy R 4.6.5, which is our distribution of materials. We're going to be working with our current e-delivery platforms. This is the distribution of materials policy. We're going to be working with those platforms to improve family notifications of available opportunities for our students. We also discussed the Code of Conduct, Policy 209. We're working on some revised language for subsection Roman 2:17. And again, there we hope to be bringing that for the second reading fairly soon. And the last topic we discussed was the school district accountability policy number 616. This is kind of a big one. It incorporates or encompasses policies that for curriculum development, world's best workforce integration, and student achievement goals and reporting. So it's a combination of several policies that we're trying to work through, and we're certainly hoping to have that sometime later this spring, but that's what we have been working on. Our next meeting for the policy working group is March 17th at 7:30 a.m. at Central Services.
Thank you very much. Okay, it's time for board member reports. Let's start down there with Director Weisberg.
I went to a partnership plan meeting last week, and I understand partnership awards are being distributed. I don't know if they've all been distributed, so I don't want to list who all they are going to, but that's very exciting. I think they're being delivered with flowers, and I think the person nominating them is actually getting to take part in it, which is really cool. And then I just wanted to share this. The partnership plan, I don't know if this is an email that's been sent out district-wide, but the partnership party is April 24th at the JX Center at 5:30, and I think they're trying this year to incorporate some axe throwing. So exciting.
Do we have to wear red and black?
I think it's encouraged.
Okay.
Yes.
Nothing
That's all I
today.
have.
Okay. Nothing for me. Dr. Potacek?
Yes, I want to mention the fact that a couple of weeks ago, Sarah and I both attended the officers' workshop put on by the Minnesota School Boards Association, and we were very fortunate that Sherry also came with us. And the morning session was kind of a joint meeting. The three of us were all at the same meeting. But we discovered a couple things from listening to Terry Merle, who was the person who presented for MSBA, that were questions that came up particularly the night of the organizational meeting. And so I want to share those with you because they told us, and this is the way that you ought to proceed. And number one, when an officer is nominated, it does not require a second. And so that's the procedure they followed. They also said that as issues come up, the order that should be proceeded when you're trying to decide the right order is first where you look at is state statutes. The second area that you look at is written policy. And then the third area that you look at in that order is Robert's Rules of Order. So that's kind of the way they laid it out. There was one more that I was trying to think. And Sherry, because I talked this with you, what came up with the clerk? One, Mark has already referenced that when you're working with policies, that the policy working group sees no need for any changes. You don't have to bring that to the board.
Right, that was the other one we
reapproval.
discussed today.
Yeah. And I thought there was one more. Do you remember any other one? Yeah. That came up particularly in our meeting with clerks.
I'm putting a list together of things, and I'll share it with Chair Stivlin, so she has it for a future.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll share it with the entire board, our recollections on those that would have application. I think I've covered most of those that I thought might be useful for us in the future. Thank you.
I'll just reiterate, I'll second that was a really entertaining, officer training. It can be a little dry, but Terry Morrow, he's really incredible at making policy seem really fun, and it was interesting and had lots of audience participation. It was great. So, and we learned a lot. So that was awesome. Yeah. Do you have anything?
I do. Thank you. All right. Well, I am the liaison for Anderson Elementary this semester. And I was invited to a preschool class at Anderson. What was excellent about that is I got to witness Letterland in person in that new curriculum. And, it's one thing reading about it and casting a vote, quite another when you get to see how it's impacting our students directly. So that was just a gift. So I'm very thankful for that. I also, adding to the gift, I read the book with no pictures, and if any staff knows, I am the picture. The person who reads the book is the picture. So, out of the mouths of babes, they certainly communicate with their eyes if they're bored. So I worked very hard at being as animated as I possibly could in that moment. It was a complete blast. I also was invited, and thank you, Ms. Sherry, for that. I was also invited to attend a guest visit at Anderson from guest artist Mr. Christian Adete. I believe he's from Ghana, and he performed with drums, had animated 3rd and 4th graders, and it was a packed gym, and parents are shouting, and it's just great. It's what it's all about. So I'm very thankful I was able to attend that. I attended my first meeting with Community Ed, and I did want to help Annette Solomon take note of this. On Monday, March 30th, it'll be a practice and a test of the reunification system. It's going to be put on by the folks of Community Ed, and they do need your help. They're seeking 150 volunteers to play the role of both parent and students. Very important work here. It's, if you can, I think it's 3 hours long. Please sign up, and I'm not sure where to sign up. Denise, do you know?
They can contact either Annette Selman or Kirsten Keister.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, I wanted to give out for the 5 millionth year in a row with the accounting excellence. I wanted to give a shout out to our accounting department under the leadership of Kristen Holheisel. I'd also like to thank some of those behind the scene folks that don't always get the public accolades. Maybe they don't want it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And if you could just please help me, because I'm going to get this completely wrong. But I have Lynn Ritzer, who I believe she has 24 years of service. Is that right? Or 7?
27.
27, okay. Kathy Tingy. Tingy. 7 years? 42. Okay, so I apologize, Kathy.
You just look so young.
And the folks in accounts payable and receivable, all of the financial staff at the site level, at every single building, including our principals as well as Ricky Michael. This excellence is the work of many contributors. Well done. I just wanted to give a shout out. Thanks to all the staff. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Director Burns?
I don't have anything this week.
All right, thank you. At this time, I would like to make a motion to move to go into closed session pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05, Subdivision 3B, for an attorney-client privilege privileged discussion regarding litigation options to address EN Properties LLC's failure to perform certain terms of the purchase agreement, excuse me, and the city's related denial of an amendment to the bus terminal CUP. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.